I've just completed a conversation with Saray De Andrade. She's the co-translator of Focus on Perspective, my first published book. And I want to say that there's going to be something very new happening with Focus on Perspective. It's going to become one of the classes that we're going to share on our multiversity. We're going to be launching Conscious Co-Creators Multiversity, and that is going to have a session of classes which will help people to make decisions, to read books, to meditate, to read timeless tales, and to understand how we can make a decision by just fine-tuning our focus and perspective.
Okay. Hello, how are you?
Hi, Sarai. I'm well, thank you.
This is our conversation about your book, Focus on Perspective. Can you show it to us, please?
Sure. Very happy to do that. And also very happy to show the one that you helped with translating into Spanish. That's a
Awesome.
bit different, but I know today you want us to focus on perspective in English.
Yes. So let's start with a bit of a warm-up. So can you tell us a bit about yourself?
Yeah, my name is Meenakshi Suri, and I am the author of Focus on Perspective. It is a book that grew out of some meditations that I used to share with a group of people many years ago. And I had lots of books inside me, and when I wanted to publish something, my husband said, this is the one that I feel you should publish first. So this is the one that made it. I know I'm not speaking so much about myself as what I've done because I feel that it's so difficult to encapsulate a human life into a few sentences. And so we'll get to know more about me and the book, I suppose, and you as we go along.
You actually skipped to the second question, but I will go back because the second question was what was the moment you said I have to write this book?
You
Do you
know,
remember?
yeah, I do, because there were lots of books which since a child, I would write little snippets of stories in a diary that I had. I
Okay.
think I must have been 7 or 8 or 9, maybe 9 or 10. And I would think that one day I will make it into a story. And I never did. I just left them as they were, but they kept coming back to me again and again. And and yet there were some books and some stories which I would just write feverishly from beginning to end. So these two things didn't stick with me. I couldn't understand why some of them would just go through. Like, the kids outside my friends would call me, come and out and play. And I would say, no, I have to quickly finish the story. It was like that kind of an urge. But these little stories were not getting written. And many years later, I realized that maybe they were snippets of memory from past lives. And so they were just meant to be as they were because they stayed with me. They never
Mhm.
went away. But this book, I didn't think that it would be a book.
Okay.
I thought that I have already done what I have done with it. It's gone out every month, or I would send it out as a newsletter. This was much before social media and everything. And I thought that was it. But somehow, with all the different books that I had written, they were not ready. None of them were ready to be to be published. My husband, who had read some of them, said this is the one that needs to be published because he's very practical. And he said this, although it has got meditations, also
Mhm.
is more down to earth. It's something that people of anyone can like it. He said, I also like it when I feel I have to make a decision. This is such a simple thing to do. So, uh, I'm surprised actually that I never wrote his name in the dedication. I should have. I should have dedicated the book to him. I'm really grateful that because of that, suddenly a few years, many years later, I said, now, the children are grown. My household duties have become a little bit less than they were. And
Mhm.
it's time now for me to dedicate to just sitting down and writing it. And I think it also helped me, and why this was the right time is because I found the right people to edit the book and to help me to publish it. And for that, I have to thank my son Raghav, who had started his publishing. He used to publish
Yes,
and
okay.
get books translated. So he edited it, he put it together, he suggested to me which stories to put in and which not to. And so he helped me there. And then you did too, Sarai, so much. So I'm very grateful that at the right time, a book can come to be. That's what I've understood.
It's a family enterprise then.
Yes, yes, in a way, it is a family enterprise in that way. And you being the extended family.
Of course. And if you had if- to condense your book in 3 words, which are not the title, what would you choose?
Clear
If
your
you had-
mind.
Okay, that's a very good one. And what is the heart of your book? What is the message that you want people to stick with the book after they've read it?
I want them to know that there's a very simple thing to do if we are confused or overwhelmed. And that is because we keep making decisions all our life. They can be little decisions or huge decisions. But the way to find the answer is actually very simple. If you're confused, then you need to step in and narrow your focus. And if you're overwhelmed, sorry, it's the opposite. If you're confused because there are too many things going on in your mind, step out and see what's going on. And if you're overwhelmed, step in and just focus on what is in front of you. And if you can do just these two steps, then it's easy to make decisions.
That's very cool. And this book is like a series of tales. And I know it's like asking which one of your children is your favorite, but which tale is your favorite? Which passage? Like I really wanted to write this.
I think it really is the first one, which I called for some weird reason the Arjuna factor,
Mhm.
because that is a timeless tale from the Bhagavad Gita, and that was the impetus for me to understand that everything that I had written was about focus and perspective, because he was the one who made two huge decisions in his life. And
Mhm.
one was a small decision, but it became huge because of the story. And the second was a huge decision, which was related to the whole Mahabharat war. And in one, he was so clear, and in the other, he was not. But because of these two, and because of his dilemma, I could see that he is the one who guides. Through him, we got the guidance of how we need to focus on what our perspective is and how to fine tune it, and or step back at the right time.
Um, some people say that the book chooses the author. Do you think you were chosen for this book? That these
I
messages came to you?
Yeah, I think so. Because I come from a family where we were exposed to many different world stories, histories, culture, philosophies. And so, and maybe other, of course, many people, it's not just me. We've read books and stories from all over the world, and they have all impinged on us. They have excited us. But the reason why I feel that the book chose me is because I'm not satisfied only with what I read. My mind keeps moving, and that's what happened to all these stories. And also because I had started working with people and doing different forms of self development, self growth, and finding peace, and different ways of working with those who are seeking harmony and healing in their life. And I saw that therefore I have got different kinds of tools and techniques and skills, which I can bring together in this book. I'm not saying that I'm the only person who could have written this, but then it looks to me that so far I am, you know. Also because each of those stories, my mind kept moving. It didn't stop because I saw how people have grown. I see that we are constantly changing. So how can a story that we read once stay the same when the people have changed? The reader is as much a part of the story as the story that is told by the author. That's how I feel.
And you were talking about how your family was like always listening to or reading things from other cultures, but you also traveled a lot in your adulthood and lived in many places. Do you think that has influenced a bit your bigger perspective on things?
Yeah, definitely. Because, before you go abroad, and if you've just been in your country, one, I'm lucky that even in India, we moved to different cities and states through much of my childhood.
Mhm.
So at least I got to know that what are the similarities and differences among people. And most of the time, you find friends everywhere. And if you find friends everywhere, you realize that people are not so different. Their language may be different and their culture may be a little bit different. But on the whole, internally, there are some similarities among people. So I became, because of that, it was easy to connect with people. But still, I felt that people in other countries must be very different from us, you know, even
Mhm.
though we have read their stories, but we don't know how they are in real life. So when I went out into the world and saw people of different cultures in different countries, then I realized there's so many similarities among people, you know, and everyone is really seeking some things which are very similar. And,
Mhm.
and it brought to mind what I had read in when I studied psychology, which is a quote from a book which is co-edited by Cluckhorn and Murray, which said that all people, each person, each of us is in some ways like no other person. So we are totally unique. In some ways, we are like some other people. So we are like our family and like our nations. And in some ways, we are like all other people. And I saw that in my life. I can see the ways in which each of us is related to everyone and yet is totally unique. And
That's
sometimes, I also found, Sarai, sometimes you are not like the people who you grow up with.
Mhm.
You may find your family, or like we like to call it now, our soul families, our family, or our tribe, in
Mhm.
countries which are very different, in cultures where people have been brought up differently, but something in the soul just connects you, you know. So I found that also.
That's very nice. And in this connection, do you connect now to your reader? Who do you picture when you think, "Oh, I wish this type of people opened my book and read my book," or "I wish everybody read my book," or maybe younger people? What is your first connection to this reader?
A very interesting question, because I realized that I'm thinking of people who used to read the book first. So there's no distinction between gender.
Mhm.
Now I've seen there's no distinction when I see the reader about age. Definitely, it's a person who should read so far English or Spanish. But I think it's someone who is in many ways themselves a thinker, a seeker, and someone who is open to changing their minds.
Mhm.
because that is the big thing. And yet, it could be someone who just looked at the book and got intrigued and is not like this at all. What would really excite me is someone who thinks, oh, one should never change their mind, reads this book and changes their mind about that. Because I have met people in the world who feel that if you change your mind, that means you're flaky.
Mhm.
You're not sure about yourself. And I feel there has to be a time when you're not sure of yourself. You should know when you're not sure. You should know when you don't know. And it's so important to be able to expand your horizons, expand the way which is all inside you. See, one thing I realized, where very often people talk of beliefs,
Mhm.
and we may think we have very strong beliefs, but very often two beliefs may be opposed to one another. And,
Yes.
for example, we may think everyone in the world is the same. I love everyone. But then if I ask you, would you marry your child to a person of that country or that religion or that culture? Maybe I might think, no, I won't. I won't feel comfortable. Maybe I'll
Mhm.
change my mind, but maybe I won't. And by I mean anyone. So we don't know, but what I'm saying is, even when I think I have a very strong belief, I myself have got beliefs which are opposed to that. So to explore these stories in the book help you, because they help you to explore not what I'm telling you, but what
Mhm.
you are finding within yourself. Go into the persona and into the huge universe that we have inside ourselves. I'm hoping that this is what this book will do to the reader. You've read some stories, Sarai. Did you feel
Yeah.
that some things changed as you read in your thought?
There were a couple of things. This is the first book I read that actually tells me like stop and breathe first. And I found that like I'm a very fast reader and I want to know what's happening. And that was like, wait, okay, I can stop it. There's no hurry. So it brought like this calmness within. And my favorite story, I think I've told you, is the one of the ocean, the Sagar Manthan, I think it's pronounced. Because for me, the whole visual of the gods turning the ocean to take this immortality was like, I was, wow. It was like huge. Like this is so big in a story so small. I can find this universe so big, and then you have the other one where there's the bird, like go flying over the. I think it's a scene. I don't remember if
Yeah,
it's the movie they're
yeah,
filming, and I could also feel like, wow, imagine like going outside of the things and looking at things like disengaging from the problem that you have at hand and looking at it from the outside. And those two stories are like my favorite, I think.
wow. Yeah, sometimes uh, even I forget which stories are there.
It happens.
Because I wrote many, and some of them we didn't put in the book. But I have loved Sagar Manthan, and as you're speaking about it, I love that because I've made co-creator circle. That was actually a co-creation, the Sagar
Mhm.
Manthan. It was a co-creation of the gods and the demons,
Mhm.
not giving a negative connotation to anyone, but just that all have the same strength and energy. But the only difference, if you want to find a difference, is that the gods seek good for all and the demons seek good for self. You know,
Mhm. Mhm.
but in the end, they both came together to do this huge churning. And Vishnu, who's one of the three main gods, he
Mhm.
he came. Everyone participated in this, you know, and you see it, so to bring out everything in the world that is there in the world, to bring out the good and the bad, because we do live in a world of duality. But even in this world, when we can co-create and or we can collaborate. In this case, I would say they were collaborating to
Mhm.
bring forth different things,
Mhm.
you know. And even the ones that we consider like one was poison, but everything that came out actually was good for the world because it helped us to as human beings to grow and develop. So really, you're right, that story is wonderful. I love it so much. It's from the Puranas and from very, very old tales in India.
I don't. When we were working on the translation for Spanish, it's the churning of the ocean, but the word churning doesn't have a literal translation in Spanish. We don't have a word for specifically that movement. So it got translated into something like shaking or whisking, but it didn't have like the same
Yeah,
power because
connotation.
churning is
Yeah,
like mixing until something comes up, and
yeah.
it was funny.
Yeah, that's, yeah. Well, you did a great job, Sarai. It is not easy uh, to um, to find the right words. And I know that we had also Lewis who helped us in translation. And
Like,
then you also, so I could see that some words are not easy to, because what I loved was that you all saw not only the literal meaning, but you were also looking for what was being conveyed.
yes, yes.
Yeah, yeah,
And I think that's also like uh, a message in itself that sometimes when we try to speak, even if it's the same language, what I'm saying you may not understand completely because it's hard for people to speak fully clearly about their intentions. We also have like our judgment or our fears or whatever. And it's, I don't know, I think a lot about how communication should be clearer, and maybe it starts with a clearer mind. If I'm clear about my thoughts and about my feelings, I can express better. And I think this book is great for for clearing your mind. Like, take a breather. Just
wow. Thank you so much for letting me know that, because I think that is what, since you're talking about communication, I can see that that is what I'm trying to convey. That when we are calm and when we are more sure of ourselves, because when we've taken a certain decision, then when we are talking to one another, we allow the other person the same space. Just like I may find within myself different points of view coexisting with one another somehow, I can find, okay, if I can see two sides of the coin, then let me see the other person's point of view. Maybe it's not the same as mine, but that does not mean it's different. It doesn't mean it's wrong,
hmm
you know. And maybe hearing a different point of view will ping something within me and make me realize, yes, actually, I feel that also. So I'm so happy that you brought this question of communication because I hadn't fully thought it out, you know. And now I'm understanding that maybe when we tell people about the book, we can also share this with them, that it helps in communication.
it's. I think everyone will take a bit of what this book does for them. Maybe someone who works in a different area, maybe health, will think about the health benefits of reading this book because it calms your mind and probably lowers your anxiety levels and stuff. So it would be interesting to see how different people react to the same stories and which are the most
Yeah,
popular.
you're right, actually, because like you said, that for an author, the book is like a child. And the way I raise children is I raise them to be independent and to have their own life and not to be minimes, you know? So I think I did the same with this book. I've let it go and I've not tried to, in the sense of I've not tried to hold on to it and to think of which story or whatever, because I want to create that space where the reader feels this is my book. And that's why at the end of every chapter, there's a place for a takeaway.
Mm-hmm.
So just like I read the story and felt that I could add to it, in the same way, I feel so can the reader. The other thing, which of course, as you know, the book has, is that many of the stories also have a meditation attached to it, or a visualization. Some of them
Mm-hmm.
are just like a thought process, and some of them are literally like something that you go inside and for a while with music on, just meditate. And I always recommend that people record in their own voices, but not everyone is comfortable to do that. So I found a beautiful speaker, somebody who has also recorded the whole book, and so therefore it's also out in Audible. Sunila Nankani. So I felt very nice because somehow I was not being very comfortable with my voice. And not only that, it's not easy to record. It's not just the quality of your voice. You need to have the proper background, all the equipment. And I felt when there is, see, that's what I mean also. It's so important not to feel that something is just mine,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
you know? Yes, maybe so, when you asked, did the book choose you? I feel the book is choosing you. The book is choosing its readers. you know, the book is choosing everyone is going to. I
That,
hope.
that's very good. And now that you were talking about meditation and how maybe using the audiobook for meditation, what would be your advice for people who are like very stressed and they don't know how to meditate? How, what would you tell them to start with? Like, I have only 5 minutes and I'm super anxious. What do I do, Meenakshi?
So, Sarai, I had in one of my classes that I was doing once called Movement, Mudra, and Meditation, Mantra and Meditation. And one lady came and she said, I just can't sit still and meditate. So she liked the moving meditation, but she
Mm-hmm.
said, how is it? She didn't feel that she's meditating. She wanted to get that feel of meditation that people talk about when your mind is peaceful and calm. So I said, in a day, which is the time when you feel very happy? She said, when I wake up in the morning and I'm having my cup of coffee. I said, so let's think of the cup of coffee that you're having and think of who made that coffee for you. If you made it yourself, how wonderful it is, and thank yourself for making it. Then think how the coffee came into your home. If you bought it from a shop, think of the people who were selling it. Think of the person who brought it from the farmers and brought it into this warehouse from which it went into the shop. So start going into the story of coffee until you reach Mother Earth, you reach the elements, you've reached everywhere, and you've been so focused on something that you enjoy and love that without knowing it, your mind is just expanded and you've gone into the whole universe.
Yes. Yeah.
So
I
we
think.
have to make meditation very simple.
Mhm.
Meditation, such a catch-all word. It's
Mhm.
one word that means many, many things. So what is it that a person wants to do? What we have in the book, I would call them either active meditations or
Mhm.
visualizations.
Mhm.
you know and each of them has a specific purpose depending on what the story was saying. For example, in the story of the lake, the expanding lake, that story is not based on any timeless tale. That one just came out of me from my work and in healing, in which I realized that whenever there's a problem, what we tend to do when we feel pain of any kind, and the pain can be a lack or a worry or whatever, or an actual trauma, we close our heart
Mhm.
so that we don't feel the pain anymore. But actually, the way to do it is the opposite. Because the more we close, the more pain we feel. Because we are closing the very energy in us that helps us to heal, that helps us to take problems and pains. So the way to do it is the opposite, and therefore I thought of the lake expanding and water, because the water connects to emotions, and it's something that just connects us all, and depending on whatever we have learned and studied and however we experience water, it is there in every field in our lives. So I wanted that story also to show that you can meditate by just having a certain kind of feeling of expansion and contraction, and how it feels from the medium of seeing a lake that contracted and therefore everything around it died. When it expanded, even the poison that had entered it just became not harmful at all, because it got diluted.
Mhm. And I, what would you say is your favorite grounding practice? What do you do? What's your ritual? Or when you feel like this, what do you go to?
It's changing, because I'm understanding that the ground is everywhere. At a very physical level, I think of the ground as the garden. If I'm in the garden and there's nature and there's a tree that I can hug or just lean against, back hug, or just look, just hug it with my eyes, and just see its story and say its story. It grounds me immediately. One moment out in the garden, and that's it. That's enough. But recently, I realized that even when I'm in the garden, the grounding is not only because of that. Like I said, it's also the stories of each of the trees, because many of them have fallen during a hurricane, been picked up, and they've come to life. So I connect with that story, and I thank the mango tree, for example, for giving so many mangoes in spite of having gone through so much trauma. So already the grounding isn't just at a physical level, it's
Mhm.
also at a mental level. And I understand that you can't fully ground unless all the aspects of you are connected to something very real. It has to start with something physical, because we are in the physical body, and move out. It can't stay stuck there, because that again is like somebody told me, oh, but I don't have a garden. Oh, but I don't have this. How can I ground? Or I'm living in the 50th floor. I said, but whatever you're touching is touching the earth.
Mhm.
The elements are the earth. So it's not just the solid ground that's under our feet. The air is also of earth. The
Mhm.
sky is also of earth. The sky is only on earth. It's only outer space that's beyond. But the sky belongs to us, belongs to the earth. So now when I think of grounding, I've understood that it's when the whole of me is connecting with the whole of wherever I am. So,
Okay.
I have a little story about that. Uh,
Okay. Go ahead.
when I first came to Florida, I was very distressed, because I realized I couldn't see the beauty, because I kept yearning for mountains. And where I live, there are not even hills. And so I used to keep saying I'm missing them. And then the message of the Gaia Minute came to me when I had long conversations with Eli, Swami Shraddhananda, who had come from the Himalayas. And we had long conversations about his project of the daily wordless prayer. And at that time, I realized that just by talking to him, I felt that the Himalayas were here. I realized my yearning went away. So that must mean that the Himalayas have reached me. And as you know the saying, right? If you can't go to the mountains, they come to you.
Yes.
And then the same thing happened when I went to Peru and Ecuador, because the Andes really felt home to me. And so I drank them in with my eyes, and I said, I don't want to yearn for you. I don't want to miss you, but I don't want you out of my life. So please go to my garden. So now when I walk in my garden, I'm telling you the different ways in which we ground. I feel I'm surrounded by the mountains. The mountains have come together here for me. So I'm enjoying everything. I'm enjoying the flatness, so it helps me to walk. I'm enjoying the mountains and I'm enjoying everything. And then I'm enjoying the presence of everyone who has been here. So, grounding, my favorite practice, since you asked me, is still my garden. But depending on a point of view, you can think of it as because of the ground and nature, or you can think of it as because of my own imagination.
Oh, your garden is very, very special. Like sometimes even I go to your garden, like, oh, I remember this tree and the harsinger flowers that you gave me. And I have a video of us like harvesting papayas, I think was. And sometimes I even go to your garden, so your garden is a special place.
Ah, yeah, no wonder. I never feel alone there. I always feel the presence of everyone who's been there. It's so important for us. That's why these meditations, which are here, they are to help us to understand that it's not difficult to do what needs to be done to bring peace into our lives, and to bring richness into our own, richness of thought, which helps us to make decisions in a very practical way. It can help you to make a decision of, should I open a business or should I not? Should I sell this house or not? Should I move from here? What job should I do? I even remember talking over here in the job that I was offered when I didn't want to take that job. And I'm still working there. So there are memories. Our memories are in so many places. So I'm so happy you told me, Sarai, about this garden, because I visit your garden and your mango tree and the goats that come and feed on the grass.
Yes, and I am still hoping you will come to Caracas because we have this beautiful mountain that we are all obsessed with. And when it's been like it's in the north, so you always are oriented and you know where it is. So when I'm not in Caracas and there are no mountains, I'm like, where am I? Where's the sun?
Ah,
Because I don't know where east and west are, but here we always know, and it's like we're a tiny city in sitting on the skirt of a mountain. I don't know if you call
yeah.
it like that, but I
Wow.
know you will come, and I will take you to the mountain
Yeah, I really want to go there. That's true.
soon, soon.
But till then, imagination will have to do.
But I've done it when sometimes I've been in situations where I don't have even a window to look out for. So I just try to picture a place, or maybe it's a feeling, a tree, then like being just for a moment, like I cannot control this situation I'm in right now. So let me try to breathe and remember a peaceful space.
Yeah,
And it helps a lot. And for me, this book is like more active because you're opening it and reading it and focusing on on the book for a few minutes, and it's not just leaving it to the imagination. It's easier to ground with that. So back to the book.
back to the book. I'm wondering do you remember any particular exercise that you liked a lot?
Oh, I don't know. I like them all. I like there was one about the rooms in my house.
Yeah, and going to the different rooms.
Do you think you could read a bit of that one?
I could
Okay.
see which one. Maybe I'll start from yeah, it's very short. Tell me when to stop. Do I read the whole thing?
Go
Okay.
ahead.
Many
What you
rooms.
feel.
Okay. Many rooms in my house. And each of them has a little bit of a tagline. So the tagline here is, the options we seek may be closer than we realize. In every season, the many places on earth continue to reveal their different facets. When it's summer in the northern hemisphere, there is still ice in the very north. Winter in the southern hemisphere, and yes, ice in the very south. Some places are dry and others rainy, some stormy and others calm. Wind blows through some places and deathly stillness rules other places. And then I'm going to go on towards the end.
Mm-hmm.
And the movement of the Earth's most complex organism continues in each season. The organism, the human being, is moving all the time, whether asleep, awake, in REM sleep, or theta sleep. The human is constantly in flux. Chakras, energy bodies, aura, light body, endocrine system, circulatory system, muscular system. These are just some of the paradigms humans use to understand themselves, their changes, their movements. In my father's house, there are many rooms. You'll recognize this from what Jesus said. Is my father's house also mine? What are the different rooms in my house? Let us go into a journey in the many rooms of our house. And then after that, there is a journey in which we enter the rooms.
It's very, very beautiful. I like it because, I studied science, and even at our smallest level, which is atoms, we're always moving. If we stop moving, if our atoms stop moving, our electrons and protons and everything, we won't be alive. So maybe this need we have for stillness is we should be looking for harmony and peace instead of total stillness. And like you said before, let's not close. Let's let the things flow. Let's breathe in, breathe out.
Yeah.
It's it's a
You know,
different.
yes, I mean, talking of perspective, when we talk of solid ground,
Mhm.
we don't remember that the earth is hurtling through space. She's going round and round and around the sun, and the entire solar system is moving around the galaxy. The galaxies are moving around the central sun. There's movement is a part of nature,
Mhm.
part of our very existence. So actually, when we are moving, and if we harmonize, like you said, with the movements of the earth, so especially for people if they find it difficult to sit and meditate, it may be exactly because of that they're not feeling the harmonizing with the earth's movement, and there's no harm in moving, you know move a little bit, and let your body be free, and that helps also to ground.
Mhm. Yes, people will think about meditation as just sitting in silence and doing mudras and whatever. But I find meditation also in drawing or in walking or even in listening to music. It's just like finding a place where my thoughts aren't racing all the time. And reading is a place where I can do that too, because when I'm focused reading, I don't have the avalanche of thoughts.
Yeah, it's true. It's true that, like we were saying, there are many stages of meditation, or we should just say there are many styles of meditation. Meditation is such a catch-all term, and it all depends on what a person is seeking to do. So this book is very focused on itself, which is when you need to make a decision, or when you're not sure of yourself, or feeling overwhelmed even with emotions and feelings, not that you want to exactly, even you don't even know what decision to make, but when you want to just feel at peace.
Mhm,
I
mhm.
really hope that this, because it's a very thin book if you look at it. But I'm so happy that you also found that some of the stories, even though they're short, can make you feel so expanded, because it is meant for that. Very quickly. It's not a difficult, and it's not a process that needs self growth or
Mhm.
self development. It really is a tool or a skill that one can use immediately. So sometimes someone asks me a question, and I say, just open the book and it will open to the chapter that you need to read. or maybe just a page, or maybe just a sentence that will help you at that time. So I want to ask you, Sarai, because in most of the chapters there's a thing on what's your perspective or
Mhm.
what's your takeaway. So did you find yourself having a takeaway? Did you find yourself writing that?
I never wrote it, to be honest. I thought sometimes about it, but some other times I just like was in the mood to keep reading and keep reading and keep reading. But I have read the book more than once, so I look for a chapter. Oh, I haven't read this like only 3 times. I need to read it again. And yeah, sometimes I think, okay, I am reading the chapter and I did the breathing before, so let's sit with it. What is what I'm feeling this time? And it's not the same every time because I've read it many times and different things have been happening around it or different decisions to make. The takeaway changes every time.
Yeah. So that's also good. In a way, it's good for me to know that you can enjoy the book by just reading it as it is. You don't have to have your own takeaway, but also to know that the takeaway can keep changing. So the book can be constantly read, and
Hmm.
that is actually why these tales are timeless. Why so many of these stories have stood the test of time, because whether they are considered mythological or they are considered just historical, however we think of them, why have these stories at a time when there was no social media, there was not even mass media that we know of, there weren't worldwide ways of communicating, why have these stories stood the test of time? And actually, one of my favorite stories in the book, and which really went on and on, growing itself into 2 chapters, is the one about the elephant,
Hmm.
in which the traditional story is about 4 blind men who were touching the elephant and were trying to figure out what it is. And suddenly I got that aha. And I said, well, I mean, now they have all talked to one another, so life has changed. Or I could be alone with an elephant, but if I would only be willing to go around it, I would know what it is. I don't have to stay stuck to one place.
Hmm.
So,
Hmm.
in a way, that also helped me to understand perspective. You know, that we can keep changing our perspectives, and then when you and I remember what my mother told me. She used to say, which is a saying in Hindi, suniye sabki kariye man ki, which means listen to everyone and then do what you feel like doing, what you think is right. uh, but we can think of it as the focus being do what you think is right, but
Hmm.
the whole thing is important. Listen to everyone. Don't stop listening to people. Listen
Yes.
to different points of view, especially in today's world where people have become so scared of listening to another point of view that they get angry. Anger
Hmm.
doesn't come from just being just a lot of aggression. Anger comes from some sort of a frustration. What are we frustrated about? I feel that what's happening now is out of fear.
Hmm.
People are actually, if I'm sure of what I feel, I will love listening to a point of view, because either it will expand me or I'll feel, oh my God, this person really hasn't got it yet, and make me feel good about myself. But I don't have to be angry with the person for having a different point of view.
Hmm.
Actually, that's why in the olden days we used to say that walk in another person's shoes. We have the opportunity today of walking in each other's shoes, of just listening or just looking at one another's shoes and seeing why this person with this kind of shoe is walking in a different way.
Yes.
What are the circumstances of their life?
Hmm.
So I'm really hoping that this book, in simple ways, and short chapters and short stories, just sort of shakes us up enough to see, okay, I can look with fresh eyes, I can listen with open ears, I don't have to close my heart,
Hmm.
you
Hmm.
know?
I like that it's short stories because I know I'm a reader and I can read a big book, but lots of people don't like to read that much. And if you show them a big book, they will say, "Oh no, I will not read that." But if you show them, you only have to read 5 pages. Just sit. It's friendly. It's in a language that it's easy to understand, and it is a big lesson. But I can take away as much as I can handle at the moment. I don't have to dominate the whole thing, or maybe I cannot take away anything at the moment, and it's okay.
Yeah.
And I like that. It's like little dose of meditation, a little dose of wisdom, or if you want to call it like that. But it's uh, bite-sized.
After I wrote the book, I thought recently I had the feeling that in a way, there's one character which is there in every story. I wonder if you know what that character is.
No, there's a narrator sometimes that is telling me to breathe, which I always read in your voice, by the way.
Oh,
And I would be the second one because I'm always like interacting with the story, so I don't know if that's what you mean.
I'm thinking that there was one character, and
Hmm.
maybe I could have woven all the stories together because in my mind they were woven. That's why they came together in one book in a certain way. Although it's not really like a progression because each one stands on its own, but in a way, doing all of them can really help us to come into a very stable place
Hmm.
of quickly being able to take certain decisions, or at least knowing when we need to go deeper to make it, and not making a quick decision when it's not warranted you know so the character I found, which is in every story, is a tree. In almost every story there is a tree, and the tree is just witnessing. Of course, in the tree in the storm, it is the major tree. you know um, yeah.
The witness. I hadn't realized that.
Yeah, I might, maybe a second one will come from
With
that.
the one with the stories that didn't make it this cut.
Yes, yes. You read my mind, Sarai. Yeah.
And back to you and away from the book a bit. Um, you've been studying healing and energy and religions for a long time. What was one thing that surprised you when you learned about it? Like, mind blown.
It's interesting because it's going to come back to what you said, and that is how do we ground? Because when people used to come to me, very practical people, someone's a contractor or someone's a business owner or whatever, I always thought that I'll have to help them to expand.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized that actually people aren't grounded. And so one of the things that I wrote, because one of my students had said, "Help me to have an out of body experience." I said, "Can you please first have an in body experience?" So I wrote a little bit of a blog post on that because I realized that what's happening, imagine, to me, it is still surprising. Here I am, this is my body, but I need to go into a lab for them
Mm-hmm.
to draw out my blood and next to tell me what's right or wrong what's going on in my own body. It's
Mm-hmm.
in me, but I don't even know what's going on in my own body. And that's why when what made me really out of this world is when I read the one little sentence of Professor Park Jae-woo, where he said, "Smile is the essence of this world. Smile is your essence. The origin smile created this world." And I said, "What? What's he saying?" you know? And but it was one of those when you feel you don't need to read anything else. Like in speaking, they call it drop mic. That was a closed book moment for me, and I was in bliss. I said such a sentence could not have come into this world unless this world was ready. So just this, and it helped me to help the people who came to me for healing. uh, One, because I always say, the way we always know, Everything's inside you, but sometimes you need someone to facilitate us seeing ourselves. So the way the book is facilitating us to look within ourselves. In the same way, I sometimes used the smile. I called it smile scan. If we can scan our own senses, we know, we can sense what's happening around within us. So if you really, even in these meditations or these visualizations, if we go deeper and deeper, it will help us to be aware of more inside us than we know, even at a very practical physical level.
And I think it stopped. Oh,
No.
okay, we're back. Okay.
Yeah.
And would you say, since you began with this journey, how has your practice changed?
Oh, it's changing all the time. But you mean since I began
Yeah.
everything in waking up and growing up?
It would be hard to know because I think you've always been,
Yeah.
when you were a child, you were already like, from what you've told me, of course, you were already like conscious and aware of other people and already writing as a child. So maybe there's no point where you would say this is where it all started, but through the years, how has it changed?
I think one of the ways it has changed is in my constantly sensing the meaning of self and not self, and
Mm-hmm.
and the whole self. So the small I am and the larger I am, and the fine tuning of when we need to think of the physicality of us, which is also not just physical me. Like I was telling someone, when you're breathing, you're not breathing the air that you created, you're breathing the air that I have just breathed out, or you're breathing, we're breathing one another in and out, and from the whole world, because the wind is bringing air from everyone. But still, this sense of self-care and understanding oneself, I won't even say that it has changed, but I'll say it's evolving all the time, because uh, it just keeps changing. Like for And I think it changes with the way the world is. Like there
Mm-hmm.
was a time, like we were talking when we were all in our little groups, we didn't even know that there's another village, so our village was our world. That's why when you read old things, they said, oh, the world is in danger, but they mean their country.
Mm-hmm.
And then because of social media, mass media, and then later social media, internet, social media, we expanded, and now we know what's happening everywhere in the world, and everything distresses us,
Mm-hmm.
and we feel like helping everyone, or we feel like being angry with everyone. So fights and wars actually become huge, and I heard somebody saying they're vicarious. It's like a vicarious, because empathy is making us have vicarious traumas. Someone's going through trauma, we take it upon ourselves and become traumatized.
Mm-hmm.
So the boundary that needs to be maintained, and the reason for maintaining it, the reason for the people who are far away from any source of actual trauma to stay in peace, so that we can be in peace
Mm-hmm.
and not be distressed. So this I keep fine tuning, but what I'm seeing now is that things are becoming closer and closer and closer, and it's more and more important to make sure that what's very close to us is also at peace. So this also, I'm watching. I guess I'm changing. The world is changing. That it's like a breathing in and breathing out. So we breathed out, and now we are sort of needing to breathe in
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
expand a little bit more, more in a more personal way.
That's beautiful.
I don't know.
And, uh, a final question before the fun part begins. What do you feel joy and humor? What is the role of joy and humor in your spirituality?
Very important. Unless we have lightheartedness, which is the way I think of joy and humor, um, we are not light. This whole this particular beingness of us was created with light. So it's important for us to be connected, and light does not just mean this physical light. Light means the light that we see in darkness with the little seed that's growing under the ground. The light of our own vision brings light into what we consider as dark. So, ask me your question again.
What is the role of joy and
So,
humor in
unless
your
we are
children?
able to be light-hearted, we are not truly light because we are looking at everything in a very serious way. And in the olden days, and I was the same, I used to feel it's so important to be serious because I would see people around me who were very wise, were very serious and solemn people. Or even the people who were very intellectual, they were always, there was no smile on anyone's face. If you
Mm-hmm.
smiled, and even now there are cultures where they feel if you smile, you're not really very intelligent or very wise. You're just
Uh-huh.
a foolish person. So, but I'm seeing more and more, I'm seeing sages who are full of light and lightheartedness and who laugh, and yet, and every sentence of theirs is dripping with wisdom, information, knowledge, and opening up my mind and my eyes and my whole self. So I see it's true, you know. And I used to think, I used to see the Buddha, I used to see all the gods, that they're smiling, they're at peace. How come they are at peace and are smiling? So that so and I realized that to know what God is, you have to be as them. You have to be like them. You have to follow in their footsteps and see that inside you. So I really feel that joy and lightheartedness are very important. It does not mean that you don't feel when you're sad,
Mm-hmm.
or you don't acknowledge, or you run away from it, because some people say, oh, you're spiritual bypassing. And I
Mm-hmm.
try to explain the difference between spiritual bypassing and bringing in an energy that will help you to heal what is overwhelming for you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
you know so sometimes, like when you start with a fake sense of laughter or joy, it becomes real. And this is a known biological fact, which they did by unfortunately cutting the nerves of a dog. And they saw that the action comes before the emotion, whereas we think it's the opposite. So the teaching that I have imbibed is that if you're feeling distressed and don't want to feel distressed and are overwhelmed and feel I want to get out of it, start with a smile. Even if it's forced in the beginning, even if it seems fake even to you, it starts doing that biofeedback, and your body starts trying to harmonize with your smile. Your brain starts harmonizing. There must be a reason why the lips are curled up. And literally that's how, because our body is one, but it's a co-creation and a collaboration all in one. So by having this little upturned mouth, you can do that, you know.
Yeah, I've read about that from both perspectives because the spiritual one and the scientific one, the medical one. I was once maybe it was your lecture about smile meditation, and I remember that you said that if smile doesn't come naturally, force it because it's like an exercise. Your muscles are not used to do that. And then I was reading psychology that when you make certain movements and certain breathing, your body understands that you're not in danger at that moment, and it's allows itself to relax, to lower your blood pressure and your heartbeats and your cortisol levels. So yeah, it might be forced at the beginning to see it like, but it eventually, if you stick with it for a few minutes, you will feel at least a bit calmer. So
Yeah,
me, it's like maybe to me, joy and humor are a way into that part of spirituality because it's a quick switch. Like, okay, I'm feeling awful. Let me look at something funny so I can switch quickly.
yeah. Yeah, I'm thinking, and since you asked me how you've changed, I have really changed in this. I remember there was a friend who used to send me jokes by
Mm-hmm.
email, and I told her once, "You're sending me too many jokes. Do you mind not sending jokes?" She said, "In my whole life, I've never met anyone who did not want jokes." I was so serious. My sister gave me the book of Dalai Lama, The Art of
Mm-hmm.
Happiness, and I said, how come someone like Dalai Lama is thinking of something so strange like
Mm-hmm.
happiness? Why are you so concerned? Can you imagine? I really thought that going after happiness isn't worthy of a spiritual life. So
Mm-hmm.
in this, I have changed big time, big time.
I think we feel, or we used to feel, that happiness was a bit selfish and then a bit vanity. I don't know how.
Yeah,
Vain would be the
yeah.
word. Because if you're, people feel happiness is like partying and everything. And to me, it's contentment. And it's also like recognizing that the situation I am might not be perfect, but I have a lot to be grateful for. And even the obstacles that are present are teaching me something or giving me something for the future. So to me, happiness is more like, it's softer happiness, it's contentment. But sometimes I do want the party or the jokes or the laughter.
It's important. We are human beings. We need to have the human experience, especially today when we're talking of artificial intelligence. And I'm looking around and I'm saying, but humans never allowed themselves to be fully human,
Mhm.
especially when you look at corporations. Human beings are not allowed to be human. You can't eat when you're hungry. You have to eat
Mhm.
at a certain time. We do everything possible. We have built up social systems which don't allow us to be physically healthy and mentally healthy.
Mhm.
You
Mhm.
know, uh, even parents don't bring up their children to be healthy. We try to bring them up to be successful, not understanding that true success
Mhm.
is being harmonized and healthy and peaceful and calm and loving. So human beings hopefully will take this as a challenge and become more human. Do you feel that this book can help us to be more human?
I think so. In the first, the thing the moment that it stops me, the book itself, it stops me and asks me to breathe first, not to do it like a machine, not to read, not to go as fast as I can, but just stop and take a moment. I think that is reclaiming a bit of not being an automatic robot and doing everything as fast as possible to be productive. I have to finish this book by tomorrow because I have so much to read. Take a moment, breathe and enjoy, and be.
Beautiful. I love these takeaways, because you never know how you asked me, did the book choose you? And I wonder, did the words choose me? Because sometimes when you write, you say, really? I wrote that?
Mhm.
Because you're just writing in a space where creation is just flowing through you.
I think sometimes the words choose you.
Yeah.
So now that we touched upon humor, it's the fun part of this podcast.
Okay.
So, some podcasts have these rapid fire questions that are just like very lighthearted, and the purpose is for people to know you, Meenakshi, better as a person, not as the author or the teacher or healer, but just Meenakshi. So I will ask you very short questions, and you will answer with the first thing that comes to mind. And
Okay.
if you feel you don't know what to say or it's uncomfortable, you say next.
Okay.
Okay. So the first question: Are you an early bird or a night owl?
Both.
Okay. What's your favorite hot drink?
Hot drink, tea.
Mhm. And cold drink?
I don't like cold drinks.
Not even water?
Yeah, but lukewarm.
Okay.
Room temperature. Yeah, I like water.
Okay. What's your favorite meditation spot? Is it at the beach, on a mountain, in your home?
Tree.
Okay. what is a book that you think everyone should read apart from Focus on Perspective?
There's a book, and I've forgotten its name, but it's about the Spartans. And when I read that book, I said everyone in the world must read it. It was about their how they prepared. I think there were just 300 of them with a huge army of the Persians, and how they won. But it was all about how they developed themselves,
Mm-hmm.
and it really, yeah. And all there are many books, but yes, I remember when I read that, I said everyone should read it. I felt people of all ages can. So otherwise, another book that I really love a lot is the Tibetan book of Living and Dying.
Oh, I haven't read that one.
Because I feel that unless we come to peace with death, that's the greatest perspective of life.
Mm-hmm.
We can't have full happiness being alive, because once you take that fear away, you're just happy. Now you're enjoying life.
Okay, I'm gonna write it down. So, if you could share a meal with anyone, living or dead or gone, from whichever era you wanted, who would it be?
I think it would be J. Krishnamurti, but I feel it would be a very silent meal. But he influenced me so much in my youth,
Mhm.
uh, and that has stayed with me all my life, that I think I would enjoy seeing him eat with me.
What would you have for the meal?
South Indian, very sattvic food.
And what is the first thing you do when you wake up?
Right.
Really?
Yeah. That's my
That's
time.
not-
That's why I'm an early bird and a night owl. I wake up. First thing I have to do is write. Then, if I feel I haven't slept in, and that can be any time,
Mhm.
you know, if I feel I haven't slept enough, I'll make myself go back to sleep and wake up with the sun. But you know, that's it.
That's interesting.
Yeah, that's my time for writing.
I will make a silly joke. The first thing I do when I wake up is go back to sleep again. Like, oh no, 5 more minutes.
I'm like the child who likes to keep fighting sleep.
I am the opposite. And what is a song or a sound that makes you feel calm instantly?
I think the sound of, strange, but the sound of the wind.
Okay, it's not strange. That's
Yeah. I
nice.
like the wind in all its, even when it's stormy, somehow it makes me calm.
And what's your favorite snack?
Oh, don't ask that. But this is funny because that's a beautiful, for me, it's good, and I'm going to say it, it's potato chips
Hmm.
at night. And why I'm happy about that is because when I don't feel like eating it, then I know that I've eaten properly. I'm on a good eating spell. And
Hmm.
when I have the craving for it, then I know that nowadays I'm not eating properly.
Oh,
So I'm
okay.
going to let it go. I'm letting it stay.
Okay. What is one word your friends would use to describe you?
Oh gosh, I have zero idea. Different friends would say different things.
I would say smiley, actually.
Oh wow. Okay, thank you.
Whenever I think of you, you are smiling. So, and the final question, what is a place in the world that you will always call home?
Myself. I've always called myself a tortoise, and my home is on my back. Wherever I am, I feel completely at home, and I never miss anything else except for that time of yearning for the mountains. I don't
But
miss.
but the mountains came to you. So,
They came to me. So now they're on my back also.
well, this is the end of the questions.
Wow, I love your rapid fire, Sarai.
There. So I think that's a fun way to get to know a person. For example, I've known you for years and I didn't know you wrote in the morning, so it's fun. It's
Yeah, that's why some people say, "Oh, you never sleep. I see your early morning thing, and then I see your late night." I said, "Yes, but don't worry. There's a lot of time apart from that because I'm very diligent now about sleeping. There was a time when the kids were small and many things were going on. I would sleep 4 hours a night, and I
Mhm.
got used to that. But it's very unhealthy. I saw that, and so now I make it a point to sleep enough."
Good. Oh, and now to close up, what is one message you would leave your future readers?
Please share how you feel about the book, the stories. What is your favorite story? Did you have a takeaway, or are you like Sarai, who have so many takeaways from each story that you didn't really feel like writing it down?
She should. She should have. And what is the best place to get a copy of your books?
On Amazon, they're there on Kindle. They're also there in hardcover and paperback, and also on Audible.
And how do they stay connected with you? Your
Through
future fans.
they can write to me at info@cocreatorcircle.com
Amazing.
by email.
Thank you for taking the time to writing the book, for like putting the idea forth so lots of people like me can read it and grow a little bit more.
Thank you
And thank
so
you
much,
for this
Sura.
space.
Thank you so much.